All right, guys, good afternoon. I told you guys I would be making a video for you, and I don't want to disappoint you, so I'm jumping into this. I already shot this video once, but realized that I had filmed the wrong side. So I think we've got everything ready to go. It looks like we're recording, yes, so let's jump into it. I know a lot of you guys who were out on Wednesday for the Angel Tree project, you missed sort of the startup, and the startup is probably the most important thing. So once you've gotten the ability to download all those image files that were that were posted over at Edmodo, basically what you're going to do is create a brand new image that measures with the following measurements that you see on the screen. So you're going to open up Photoshop, click File, New, and type in the width at 14 inches, the height at 8.5, and the resolution at 100. You don't have to worry about any presets because as soon as you start typing these numbers in, the preset will change to saying the word custom because this is a custom size. Actually, this is a size or a measurement that we're going to be using so that we can post this image on the smart object. So this size is kind of important, and it's not necessarily a size that you would see inside of Photoshop in regards to any presets. Now I'm going to zoom out here. Once you guys create that new document, you're going to get a fresh piece of paper that looks like a regular rectangle. And what we're going to do is just simply file, place that photograph of Rick Grimes, the main actor. I've got that saved here in the folder. I'll click it and click paste, and here we go. He goes right in the center. Now, I've made it a point to tell people that I think it's a good idea to resize this because mainly the top of his head is cropped out or cut off. So let's resize that so that the top of his head actually goes to the top of my piece of paper. And that looks pretty good right there. Yes, I'll press enter and away goes those little squares, and we're ready to start going in and editing. Now, just to make a point, the next step that I'm going to give you guys, you'll notice if you're not paying attention, you might have an error message that pops up. And the reason you have that error message pop up is because this is a smart object. And smart objects work a little bit different in Photoshop than regular photographs that you just kind of copy and paste or that you're working with. Now, what I'm talking to you guys about is we're going to cut out the background using, I think, the best tool, the quick selection tool. But when we click that tool and come over here to start clicking on stuff, well, it didn't happen this time, but when I press the delete button to get rid of that, I get this error message that pops up. And basically what this error message is saying is, hey, wait, you can't delete anything because the layer that you're on is a smart object layer. So it can't be edited or it can't be deleted. So I'm going to click OK. And there's actually a very simple way around this because you guys have already done this with text. I'm going to two-finger click on the picture of Rick Grimes, and I am going to select rasterize layer. And what that does is it takes away the option of it being a smart object. And now I can click the delete button or press the backspace button, and that background goes away. I can come over here and select his hair on the left side and press delete, and it goes away. And now we're relatively good to go. We've got everything cut out. If I look over here, it's cut out and it's white because it's on a white sheet of paper, but the background here is transparent. So using clipping masks now is going to be pretty easy. Don't worry about these little boxes at the bottom. It's only happening because I'm recording my screen right now. So I am going to file place both of those images that I gave you guys access to, the broken down, rundown buildings and the zombie walkers. And it does not matter the order that you file place those in because you can move those around at any point that you want layer wise right here. But I will tell you that you will not be able to file place anything. It'll be grayed out until you press enter here to accept the size changes. So I'll press file place again. This time I'll click on the houses. And there we go. Everything's in where it needs to go, and I think that size is pretty good, so enter it does. Now, these are smart objects, as you can see by the two icons right here, but this isn't really that big of a deal because we're not really going to edit them. We're not going to do anything with them. We're just kind of going to use them in a location to fit over top of Rick Grimes' face. But it is important that you start off with the very first layer. For me, it is my walker's layer that pops up directly above Rick Grimes, so that when you two-finger click on this layer, there we go, two-finger click, and select the option that says Create Clipping Mask, it actually clips to Rick Grimes. Now, there's no point in me zooming out right now to show you because I've got another image on top of it that's going to be blocking it. So I'm going to two-finger click on that and say Create Clipping Mask. And now both of these images are clipped to the shape of Rick Grimes' face. And when I zoom out, boom, there it is. Now, how come I can only see one of those images? Because that one image is pretty big. When I move this now around a little bit, my photograph of the walkers pops up, and I can click on that layer and move those guys down however I feel, well, however I feel is necessary. And I think we're pretty good. I think this is kind of the areas that I decided to drag and drop these pictures. So I think we're good to go. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about was getting rid of this nice straight line. Actually, it's not so nice. It's a little bit more of an eyesore. And actually, all you need to do is use the eraser tool right over here, which works kind of like the paintbrush, but instead of painting color, we're actually going to erase stuff. And I think it's best to use a soft brush, one of these previews that has kind of like a blurry edge. And all I'm going to do is come in here, and start erasing. I'm sorry for those pop-ups. I want to explain what those pop-ups are. You notice how when I bring my eraser over here, I've got this kind of like no smoking sign here. There's a reason for it, and those pop-ups actually explain why I can't do that. When I click and I try to use my eraser tool, a pop-up here, an error message comes up and says, hey, wait a minute. This is a smart object, so you need to rasterize your smart object before you start editing or proceeding. Proceeding with what? Erasing. It asks you right here, would you like us to rasterize the smart object for you? Of course, that's really nice of you, Photoshop. So now I can go in there and now I can start erasing a little bit. That's maybe a little bit more than I want. Maybe make this paintbrush a little bit smaller. And I can go in and erase a little bit more. Oh no, I got the spinning beach ball. There we go. Erase a little bit more. Now, obviously, what's going to be noticeable now is I've erased the top line of the zombies, but now the bottom line of that photograph with the houses is showing up. So I'm going to click on my houses and start to erase that. Oh, what's this? I can't erase it. It's a smart object. Okay, rasterize it for me, Photoshop. Thank you. Now I can come in and erase this hard edge and maybe erase a little bit, excuse me, of Rick Grimes' eyes so that we can see him. Oh, a little bit of his ears. And obviously one of the things that's going to happen here is you might have to toggle back and forth between layers because some of the lines from other pictures might still be popping up. But I think this is relatively a good start here. I like that, yes. Can kind of make out who he is and what's going on. So I'm pretty satisfied. Maybe I could bring in a little bit of his hair up here, a little bit. I don't know. Play around with it. See what you like. Now, one of the things that I do think you need to pay a little bit attention to since you're already mastering Photoshop is since these photographs that we're using as a double exposure effect are all kind of taken at different times and at different locations, light on them looks a little bit different. His face is a little bit brighter than the zombies, and the zombies are a little bit darker than this picture of the broken down building. So I'm going to go over here to my blending modes, and I'm going to select the blending mode that I think best fits these photographs. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, I think I used the overlay on the houses, and I think on the walkers, the blending mode I used was hard light. And yeah, that looks pretty good there. I can still kind of see a line, so I'll erase that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I can kind of see the house up there, double exposed into Rick Grimes' face, and I can see the zombie walkers there. And I think probably the only thing that would make this a little bit better is maybe to lower the opacity down to 75%. I'm going to do that on both pictures, lower the opacity down just around 75%, because I think that it does it a little bit better, the image that is the final image justice, and I think you can see a little bit more of his face a bit better. So I've changed the blending modes and I've also lowered the opacity. Now, we have two images, two graphic images of logos that we're going to throw in here too. And this is really simple too. All we're going to do is click File, Place, and locate the Walking Dead logo and place that. Probably are going to need to resize that a little bit. Yeah, that looks good over there. And then we'll do a file place of the AMC logo. Now this one is gigantic, so I absolutely need to make this one smaller. And I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than the Walking Dead logo, but I think I'm going to place it right above it because I think this weighs it and balances it out really nicely. I think everything's lined up really well. Now, this is a pretty good image. I like everything that I see here. I think this fits. Matter of fact, I think this could go on a TV right away. But the issue here is that the colors are kind of all over the place inside of him. And I've got these black logos here that don't really necessarily fit any black areas on the photographs. So I'm going to add one more little design element that I really think is going to kick this design and put this above everything else. Come on in, buddy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new layer, and that brand new layer is going to go above everything else. It's going to go above my AMC logo and the Walking Dead. Yeah, what's up?
Dinner is served.
Dinner is served. All right, well, I'm going to come down right after I'm done with this, okay?
Mom doesn't believe that you said that I can have ginger ale.
Okay, I'll come down and help you out, okay? Can I have 5 minutes?
Let me just make a timer for you.
Okay, make a timer for me. I'm going to start going, okay? So, sorry about that, guys. On this brand new blank layer, all I'm going to do is add a very simple gradient. Now, the gradient tool is over here. If you can't see it, it might be hidden underneath the paint bucket tool. Depends on what tool you were using last. And I mean, some of the gradients that you have are kind of boring, but some of them are kind of interesting. And I want to show you guys where there's some additional options for you. So as soon as you click on the gradient tool, you'll notice you get a preview of some colors. Now, you might not get these colors, but let me show you how you can get these colors, all right? If you click right here on the little color preview, you get obviously the bar here that explains how you can make your own colors, but you have a different set of options than I have. And the reason for that is there's a hidden menu right underneath this gear. 4 minutes? All right, I better hurry. I'm going to click this little gear, and you'll notice that there is, a set of little gradient options right here. And the ones that I really like to use, especially when I'm using photographs, is this photographic toning one. I really like this one because I think it has some really cool kind of Instagram looking colors. And let's see which one looks good. I'm going to go with this black and blue one. Now you guys can select whichever one you want. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to go with this blue one because I kind of like the black and blue. And I'm just going to drag and drop that gradient right on top. Now don't get too nervous. You can always drag and drop it over if you want to see what it looks like going in a different direction. And I know it's going to cover up everything, but what I'm going to do is change the blending mode to something else, like maybe darken. Don't really like that. Maybe multiply. Ooh, that's a little bit too dark. Maybe I'll jump down here to like lighten. I kind of like that, but I am losing a little bit of the colors over here on The Walking Dead, so maybe I need to grab a different, I'll try this red one. Let's see what this looks like, this black to red. Ooh, I kind of like that, but it's kind of making his face a little bit dark, so maybe try screen. And you know what? That's it. I think that's the one that I'm going to do. What's up?
10 more minutes.
10 more minutes. I went from 4 to 10?
Yeah.
Who's your math teacher?
Actually, no, 3 to 10.
3 to 10? So I still got 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then it's going to be 9.
9 minutes. Okay, so I like this feature here.
7.
Okay, 7. kindergarten math. So I like this right here. I think this is really, really good. Again, you don't have to necessarily like the colors. You guys can play around with the colors, but what this does is it connects some of the imagery here of the logos to the overall color scheme of the face, and you are good to go. You've finished everything. Now, what's really important is that you do save this, and you do save this as a Photoshop document. So since I've got this blue area here highlighted and it says Untitled-1, I'm going to name this something that I'm going to remember, maybe like Walking Dead. You could call it Clipping Mask. You could really call it whatever you want, but make sure you save this in an area or a location that is easy to find. I always like recommending to people that you save it right to the desktop because it's easy to find. It's right there on your desktop. So this will conclude. I'll click Save. It will save it, and this will conclude. Let's make sure that it's actually there. Did it save? Boom, there it is right there. Awesome. This will conclude the first part of the video that I promised you guys I was going to shoot. Now, directly below this video, I'm going to create another really quick, small one where I show you guys how to insert this as a smart object into the final thing that you're going to be turning in to me for credits. So make sure you check out that really quick video as soon as you wrap up all these steps. Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.